What do you think is the most predominant, essential, and fundamental characteristic which determines success and happiness in our life? Yes, it is attitude. But wait, those who think that attitude is just about being extremely positive and just avoiding the negative, mind you, that is just the tip of the iceberg. There is a hell lot of things we need to know more about it. We will be discussing about these things in our video, so stay tuned. Hello everyone. This bug called attitude has its relevance in most part of our life. If you are a student who is looking for perfection to a certain level but unable to get it, or you're just struggling to concentrate in your studies. If you're a businessman who is looking to scale up your business to the next level, or just founding a startup. Do you work in an organization and there you have to deal with one of the most difficult bosses ever? Or do you have a set of very difficult colleagues around you? Or just to say, do you have a very difficult work environment in your organization? If you are a parent having to deal with the temper tantrums of your child and you are fed up of his increasing demands day by day, or just your child doesn't listen to you. If you are a person who spends sleepless nights due to some problems in your relationship, or just you are having very difficult time to maintain a workable relation with someone in your family. In short, if you are a human and dealing with lots of problem all around, let's hold our hands and take the plunge together. Every problem on earth has some common and basic characteristics. All the problems have two parts, the internal part and the external part. The external part generally comprises of the object, the person, or the situation outside of that person. And internal part comprises of our own thoughts, our emotions, our belief systems, and so many other things. Normally, it is the interplay of these internal and external factors which determine whether it is a problem or it is a solution. How often do we find ourselves blaming the external factors for any kind of problem in our life? I failed because of ... and these ... contains that person, that object, or that situation. How often do we find ourselves to say, I failed because my thoughts were not right, my belief was not right? Very rare, maybe 1% of the population. But the issue is, it is an interplay of two factors and we cannot just ignore these. The most funny aspect of this thing is, we would very often find people taking credit for an achievement or a success. How often do we see people say, I did this, or I achieved this because I had worked hard, I had planned it, I had really put in my best. How often do you find people say, I succeeded because of that person, that object, or that situation? Very rare, isn't it? So, the bottom line is, whenever it is a success or achievement, it's my credit. And whenever it's a failure, it's the blame of someone else or something else or some other situation to be blamed for. So the question is, out of the internal and the external factors, which is more important? Ideally, it is the internal factors, our thoughts, our emotions, our belief system, our attitude, our traits, and so many other things. The issue is, if we tackle the internal factors, we are tackling our own personality. And this is the best news. Why? Because internal factors are constant. It is so unique about the personality. It doesn't change over different problems. It is the same. So it is this constancy which helps us to tackle all the problems with the same set of remedies. So we can choose to be successful or a failure, or to be happy or gloomy. So we were discussing that attitude is the most important component for success or happiness. To understand this a little better, let's see this enactment.
Hello everyone, how are you? Let me introduce myself. I'm a human. I'm living here since last 3 million years. I have seen a lot of this world now. Look, this world is in really bad shape. It is dark everywhere. Everyone living here are covered in darkness. Even the sun shines in a dark shade. I'm tired of this darkness, but can't really help. It is reality. We are all heading for a dark doom. Hey, did I hear something? Take out my glasses. Why? I'm so happy with it. Okay. Oh my god, there is so much light everywhere. Things are so different now. Yes, everything looks so well lit here. I'm beginning to feel good. It has been several centuries. I last felt so good. Oh my goodness. This world is so beautiful.
So, it's the color of the glasses which determine how we see things, isn't it? What about the color of the glasses which we wear inside our brains? This small story will illustrate that. A 5-year-old boy was sitting beside a pond, throwing stones into the water. He saw that all the stones were sinking in the water. He asked his father, who was standing near him, "Father, why does all the stones sink in water?" The father replied, "My dear son, it is the heaviness of the stone which makes them sink. They are denser than water, so they sink in water." The boy then said, "Father, I threw stones. Some were triangular, some were circular, some were rectangular, but all of them sank." The father was amused. He said, "My dear boy, it's not the shape which matters. It's the weight, it's the density which matters." The boy then got up and he took a few steps and picked up a sandstone which was whitish in color. He said, "Father, this stone looks whiter, so I would throw this stone. Would this sink too?" The father then said, "My dear boy, it's not the color either. It's the heaviness, it's the weight, it's the density of the stone which makes it sink, not the color or the shape." Have you seen the balloons which fly into the sky? The size, the shape, the color of the balloon doesn't matter. What matters is the gas which is filled up inside it, whether it's hydrogen or helium. It goes up into the sky. If instead of these gases you fill it up with carbon dioxide, you know what will happen? All the balloons will fall down on the ground. So it's not the color, shape, size, or anything external. It's what is inside which matters, which decides whether something will go up or come down. Attitude is something like this. It is that predominant thing which is inside us, which fills us and which makes us go up or come down. It is needless to say, most interviewers, consciously or unconsciously, they select students having the right attitude. Though knowledge, experience matters, but at the end of everything, what matters is the attitude. Every interviewer knows that if a candidate has the right attitude, he can solve any problems, regardless of his knowledge or experience. Right attitude brings those strands of optimism, conscientiousness, and perseverance, which is so necessary for being a successful person. Psychologists will tell you how wrong attitude sets in motion wrong train of thoughts, leading to wrong action, leading to subsequent failure. On the other hand, you would come to know how right attitude brings the right ingredients for thinking, for feeling, which sets right all emotional and relationship problems in a life. Let's do this small exercise. I tell you, you are wrong. How do you feel? Since you don't know me much, so probably you feel somewhere in the neutral territory. Now think of that person whom you dislike the most in your life. That person comes in front of you and says, "You are wrong." How do you feel? The nastiest feelings ever, isn't it? You feel insulted. You feel that this person has made your day bad. Wait. Stop your train of thoughts. Think of that person whom you like the most in your life. Or maybe that person from history whom you admire the most. That person comes in front of you and says, "You are wrong." How do you feel? Well, if this person says I am wrong, probably he is right. I need to introspect and find out where I am wrong. I need to mend my ways, isn't it? Yes, it goes that way. The attitude we have about that person determines how we feel to what that person says or does to me. Now let's do it again. I from here tell you, take care. How do you feel? Maybe you don't know me much, so you feel something in the neutral territory. Think of the person whom you like the most, or maybe the same historical person you thought before. That person comes in front of you and says, "Take care." How do you feel? Yes, you feel to be at cloud 9, isn't it? Your best day is today. Now think of that person whom you dislike the most in your life. That person comes in front of you and says, "Take care." How do you feel? Yes. This person must have come with some motive. He's enacting a drama to get me into something. I'll see to it what he is up to. Isn't it? Yes. That's how our attitude shapes what we see. It's not what happens, it's what we perceive. And it shapes all our relationships, all our dealings with external environment. Relationships could mean our friends, our peers, our family members, our colleagues, and so on. So it's just the color of the glasses which we wear. So we now know that attitude works everywhere. The next question is, how exactly does attitude work? It works at 3 levels. The first level is at the perceptual stage. Attitude shapes our perception. We have 5 sense organs: the eyes, the nose, the tongue, the ears, and our skin. Whenever there is a sensory information coming in from outside world to us, it goes straight to our brains, and the brains process the same and we recognize it. So the process of sensing and the process of recognition are 2 different processes. This will be illustrated with this example. This picture, what you see right now, to the eyes, it is nothing but an amorphous shape. The shape which is registered by the eye is sent to the brain, and from there, your preconceived notions, your concepts, and your information base analyzes to see what it is. It could figure out a human. It could figure out the posture of the human, which seems like a kind of dance. It can also recognize who that person is. So, the moment you see the picture, you can say, okay, it's Michael Jackson dancing. The eyes didn't see it. It's your brain which saw it. What the eyes see and what the brain recognizes are 2 entirely different sets of processes. So, what we see is not what we perceive. What we perceive is what we see plus our attitude. This process of recognition by our brain is nothing but our attitude working. In the next examples, we will be clarifying how attitude actually colors our perception. We have some fun examples coming up. It was a dark night. You were approaching a room. Somehow, you were not comfortable. The room lay at a lonely place, and you were feeling afraid. Your heart was pounding. Somehow, you approached the room and opened it. There was a window at one side of the room through which moonlight was coming in. In the moonlight, you could barely see things inside the room. Suddenly, your eyes fell at the corner of the room and you saw something coiled up. With fright already inside your mind, suddenly it appeared to you that it was a snake coiled up there. You froze initially, and then, recovering, you ran out, shouting aloud, "Snake, snake, and snake." Think of the situation. Were you right? It's difficult to say. You might think you are right, but it's not. You were approaching the same room at the same night, but for some reasons you were happy and you were peaceful. You were returning from a party and had a great time there. You opened the room merrily, and in the moonlight, your eyes fell on something coiled up at the corner of the room. Now what happens next? You were not afraid, you were actually happy and peaceful. So what happened now? Think. Yes, you didn't see the snake really. You saw something coiled up there. And in the faint light, you couldn't really understand what exactly it was. So you told to yourself, let me take a couple of steps ahead and check out what it is. You took a couple of steps ahead to check what it was. In the faint light, you could barely see. So you may have put on a light as well. And that's what you found out. It was a rope lying there coiled up. See how attitude shapes your perception. A rope became a snake if you were charged with fear. This is called delusion in psychology. Had you been a step further ahead, you might have seen the snake with the hood and some hissing sound as well. Who knows? And you would have run outside and told the story to the people around. I had seen a snake myself, and it had a hood, and it was hissing. What would have the people thought? Yes, this person is telling this to me. So it is he who saw it, so it must be believable. And that's how rumors progress. That's how we tend to believe on things without having our first hand experience. Now, what happened exactly in the last case was a case of hallucination. You did saw something coiled up and you mistook it as a snake. That was delusion. But out of that fear, when you saw something which didn't exist at all, like the hood or the hissing sound, that is hallucination. So both delusions and hallucinations are friends, or you can say they are siblings. So they go hand in hand and change your perception, and you think that you saw it yourself. Attitude does shape what we see and makes our perception.